Hey, Nik Bear here. Welcome to Computational Skepticism. So, the skepticism in computational skepticism comes from philosophical skepticism. Skepticism is not nihilism. Nihilism means everything sucks. You wear a lot of black and everything sucks. Skepticism is evidence for and against. What is the evidence for this? What is the evidence against this? You provisionally accept things if the evidence is strongly for. You don't if it's against, and depending on your risk, how important it is, you may need a lot of evidence or a little evidence if not being right isn't so bad. The computational part is going to come from using algorithms to do this. There's so much information out there, and it's so easy to create new information that looks real, that's not real. You really need automated systems to basically do the work of gathering all the data for you, gathering all the evidence both for and against, and then using your mind to evaluate. We're going to talk about this as well. You're going to learn philosophical skepticism. So we're going to learn how to make tools in this course to go basically give me the complete story, not just this little bit of a story, the complete story. Then from the complete story, it'll be a human being who then decides, I believe this, I don't believe this. So we're going to start with a little video, which I'm not going to comment on initially. I'm just going to let you listen to it. These are some politicians talking. And then I'm going to talk about it afterwards.
So we're going to put a stop to it now. There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
So what do you think a Trump government would look like, Senator?
It would be chaos. No one knows, but it would look probably like the positions he's held for all these years on many of these issues. He is wholly unprepared to be president of the United States. He refuses to answer questions on any specific public policy. He has no plan for health care, for example. They asked him about the debt. He claimed he's going to cut the debt by cutting fraud and abuse, which everyone acknowledges. And he didn't get any follow-up or any press on that, and nobody pressed him on that afterwards. I tried to get the moderators to ask him about it. This is the most important government job on the planet. We're about to turn over the conservative movement to a person that has no ideas of any substance on the important issues, the nuclear codes of the United States, to an erratic individual.
We need someone with judgment and the temperament to keep this country safe. I don't know anyone who would be comfortable with someone who behaves this way having his finger on the button. I mean, we're liable to wake up one morning and Donald, if he were president, would have nuked Denmark.
What is your reaction to hearing what Donald Trump says?
I'm disgusted. Well, I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy. I think what you like about him, he appears to be strong when the rest of us are weak. He's a very successful businessman, and he's going to make everything great. He's going to take all the problems of the world and put them in a box and make your life better. That's what he's selling. Here's what you're buying. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party.
Okay, so I took those transcripts from that. The actual things are much longer. I recommend you watch the full things. They just trash Trump over and over again, not for 2 minutes, but for a very long time. And I asked the language model, in this case, Claude, because everyone in Northeastern has access to Claude. To be fair, but explain to me sort of how have their views changed in the past 10 years, and if so, what are they now? And explain to me the transition. So what Claude did is said Marco Rubio, he verified this is true. He called him a con artist, completely unprepared. He now serves as Secretary of State. Just called Trump the peace president. That can be the one of the greatest ever kind of thing. The explanation is Rubio's a total politician. Apparently there's no line Trump can cross, including calling for the death of his vice president in a sedition, that will have him go against. And again, if I say something you don't believe, check it. This is the whole point of computational skepticism. Don't believe me, trust but verify. Verify what I say. Look at what he called on, the people the January 6 people, they were screaming, hang Mike Pence. Like Pence had to be escorted off the Secret Service so they wouldn't lynch him, basically. And John Trump both funded and instigated that. That's not enough for Marco Rubio, plus his dementia, obvious signs of Alzheimer, lying about shooting the American people in the street of Minnesota, etc. None of that is enough for Rubio to say, okay, enough is enough. Ted Cruz, not so visible. He's not in the Trump cabinet. He did endorse Trump, but according to this thing, again, you could take this to another language model and double check it. Take it to another language model and double check that. Now they're getting you sources. So go to the source and see, is this true? This was what the skepticism is about. But these tools did, probably 10 hours of research for me in 2 minutes. If I had to do 10 hours of research, I wouldn't do it because I don't have those 10 hours. And this is a lot what we're going to deal with is have these tools to quickly get you data that you make a decision. But according to this, and I would dig into this more, apparently he sort of badmouthed Trump behind doors, according to this. Leak recording suggests that what he says in private is very different from what he says in public. But again, you should check that. Is this true? You can ask it, well, what are your sources? Lindsey Graham, called him a cook, race baiting, unfit for office, bigot, yada, yada, yada. Now he's one of his closest allies and golf buddies. One of his explanations for why he changed his, Trump is fun on the golf course. Clearly, if you're fun on the golf course, that excuses being race baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot, was unfit for office, as long as you sort of cheat at golf or fun at golf. That's Graham's explanation. But apparently in a 2024 book, according to this, of course, you'd go back to that book and look at that book. What is the name of that book? Chairman of the Penance was about Canada. But he testified before a grand jury about the election interference, the sedition against Trump, which I'm sure Trump didn't like. So according to Claude, basically they caved in. They claim by caving in that they can do the greater good by advancing conservative policies. I'm not sure what that is. Conservatives are about small government. I don't see how spending $85 billion, which is more than every other law enforcement agency combined, on ICE is at all small government. I don't see how invading countries without the Congress is small government. I don't see how installing dictators into Venezuela, small government. But that's what they claim. They claim they are for small government. The Constitution, in spite of, again, let this up, multiple high crimes violating the Constitution. By multiple, I mean 2030. Most likely political survival. So if they go strongly against Trump, Trump supporters tend to be rabid. And so they'll lose probably half the Republican base. Half will be Trump, half will not. And they believe that's not enough to survive in their district. And that's happened in the past, where there have been candidates who run that even the Republican campaigns are not Trump enough and have beat the other Republican. But its analysis is there's really no principal explanation. What this course is about is you can watch that video and look for yourself. You can type for yourself and you can take that transcript, just go to YouTube, copy the transcript, ask language model things, ask them, is this true? Is this true? Is this true? And very quickly, it'll get you an analysis to check things. And so this will be the big part of this course. We're going to build much more sophisticated tools because we don't even want to fight these things in. If we care about something, we want a bunch of agents on the internet 24/7 analyzing it. And we'll get to that eventually in this course. But now this course is about using tools to fight misinformation. Okay? In our next video, we're going to talk about sort of why misinformation spreads so quickly. Okay? Take care.